Today on the Ave Podcast, we're about to have our annual Raptors conversation. Look, so every year we do what we do, and we talk about the Raptors at around this point of the season. Usually it's after the All-Star game or basically after the trade deadline. And it's usually titled The State of the Raptors Address. And don't get me wrong, nothing's changed. This episode is still called that, and it'll always be that as long as I'm doing this episode. The difference is, when I first started doing it in 2017, up until last year, the Raptors were always headed towards a playoff run. Sometimes it ended in great disappointment. Other times, like in 2019, it ended in great glory. Well, like Biggie said on his first album, shit done changed. The Raptors are headed in a direction that they haven't seen since the 2013 season, possibly missing the playoffs altogether. It's almost kind of cool to say that because now the Raptors are coming from their longest run of playoff success or just general success in franchise history. And back in 2013, I think Raptors fans would have given like anything to be at this point, at this place of privilege, and not be used to winning. So, here we are. So keeping with tradition, I'm joined by my SSA family members, Julian, a.k.a. Jules Da Commish, and Randall Walter, head coach of Excel Hoops prep basketball program, as you dive all the way into this Raptors season. We discuss Pascal's remaining potential, how this revised edition of this Raptors core heads into the future. We discuss what's happening with the team's most important free agent, Masai Ujiri, if Nick Nurse's coaching style is still as shiny as it was a year ago. Plus, we discuss the last stretch of Kyle Lowry as a Raptor. We discuss Gary Trent Jr., and we pour out a little liquor for Norm. Plus a lot more than that. And if you're a Raptors fan, and face it, a basketball fan overall, please enjoy. SSA is available wherever you listen to your podcasts. Hit the like button, the favorite button, and depending on how you're listening to this, you're going to see 5 stars, right? You click on all of those 5 stars, and you're going to get a bang out of life. Believe me, it's great for the soul. Just try it. Just try it. Try it right now. Your multitasking skills is amazing. You got it. You got it. And yes, you could also head over to SSA.com right now to catch up on all the past episodes in my catalog. Once again, that's SSA.com. It's the Ave Podcast with Cal C on SSA Radio. We the North, South. The North, South.
Welcome to the Ave Podcast with Cal C on South Sharav Radio.
Welcome to the Ave Podcast. My guests today are from the South Sharav family. My first guest is the head coach of Excel Hoops prep program, and is still a team light skin MVP who's waiting to be considered on board for the CEO position. He's waiting for the board to consider him. Please welcome Randall Walter to the show. How you doing today, sir?
Thank you for having me back. Hey, I gotta give some love out to all my light skinned boys on Gonzaga. They bringing it back, and they're not the Duke kind of, light skin. I'm talking like light skin. Rep it, boys. Bring it back. Show these guys you guys can go undefeated without a dark-skinned guy doing anything.
Hey, calm down. My next guest is a South Sharav family member who's now earned a new nickname based on our last conversation, because he's reduced his responsibilities as a fantasy GM throughout the GTA and has given his life to the stocks. Please welcome Julian, a.k.a. Jules Da Commish, a.k.a. Young TFSA. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back. What's up?
Yes, sir. I'm glad to know. I mean, we're doing the annual State of the Raptors Address that we've been doing every year for the last, it's like 5 years now. It's just crazy. But just going into last year, the season after the Raptors won the title, right? Everybody was kind of writing them off after Kawhi left. And for me, going into the season, I believe that they had like a similar chip on their shoulder vibe to, I compared it to the 93-94 Bulls that first year without MJ when he retired, when he went to go play baseball and all that. And they went on to be one of the best teams in the NBA. They lost in the second round after a tough, hard-fought 7-game series, I believe was to the Knicks. It didn't exactly happen the same way, especially due to COVID shutting the world down, but it was kind of the same results. Like, the Raptors played with a chip on their shoulder. They were one of the best teams in the NBA. They swept their first-round matchup just like those Bulls teams, and then they lost in a hard-fought 7-game series in the second round in a wide-open Eastern Conference, just like that Bulls team. But they lost to the Celtics last year. Last year. In 1995, though, the Bulls regressed. They lost some of their biggest free agents, like Horace Grant. Some of their players retired, and they went through a mediocre season. Now, 26 years later, these Raptors have a much different journey, but just like that 95 Bulls team, they ended up at the same intersection of mediocrity and meh, right? So the only difference is between those two teams going into the stretch run is that Chicago acquired this guy by the name of Jordan, who he wasn't a bad player from all intents and purposes, and the Raptors acquired Rodney Hood and Gary Trent Jr. and that guy that led us to the NBA championship, he still plays in the same sport, but he's in Los Angeles, and I don't think he's coming. I don't think he's coming back. In the years that we've been doing this State of the Raptors address, this season has never been this bleak. So I don't know. What do you guys could say something first? But like, what are your expectations, or what were your expectations going into this season? Like, have they come close at least, or have they been wildly disappointing? Let's start with Jules Da Commish. Let's start with young TFSA.
Yeah. I obviously didn't think it would be this bad, right? But I thought when we had that, I think when I was on your pod before the season started, I think I had them finishing like 4th or 5th, like the Raptors. So I definitely had them in the playoffs. Definitely had them getting past the first round. Like, that's what I had thought. So I didn't see this happening. I didn't see, like, even with COVID, I still did not see. I didn't see them, like, even with like being like away from like because we lost what's his name, Van Vliet. We lost Pascal for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then we
OG.
lost Lowry, OG. Like, so that hurt, right? So I think they went on like an 8-game losing streak, and then from there, it ruined the whole league. So it was hard to predict the season for any teams. Like, for myself personally, for not just for the Raptors, but for a lot of teams, because you don't know how much COVID would have impacted. But for the Raps, it definitely hurt them. COVID definitely hurt them. I think playing in Tampa Bay definitely hurt them. And I think if this was a healthy team, like, keep in mind they have a lot of glaring holes, right? And I'm sure we're going to talk about Aaron Baines and our big men. But that being said, even with Baines, I definitely still had them making the playoffs, being healthy, and playing out of Toronto. So it was a disappointment, but I'm not upset. I'm not to the point where I'm saying like blow up the team or anything like that either.
Yeah.
But I just think just to let the season go in as a wash, come back next year, and just add a big man, and we're good. I think so.
Okay. And what about you, Randall?
Yeah, I mean, just to load off of what Julian was saying, I think, it's interesting because for the last, I want to say, well, not last, but after Kawhi left, I think all the analysts had us kind of where we're at now. A lot of them thought that would have happened last year. And I kept saying the biggest loss to the whole puzzle was really losing Serge Ibaka. I said that, I think, on the last podcast when we had the preseason, and and I know some people say, it was at the time like it's not that big a deal. No, it was huge. Gasol was a big loss too, and I understand that they were trying to get them both back, but I think Ibaka, especially in this modern age, in this type of game, he fit the team. I'm not saying he would have saved the season, because I think Julian hit a lot of the key points of injuries, COVID. I mean, it really, sidetracked the team, and we're essentially playing 82 games on the road. So, you have more, I know they were saying you had, fans in Tampa Bay were essentially cheering for the other teams, right? Yeah. So, there's no allegiance to the Raptors there. So, I mean, listen, if you look at this holistically, there was a point in time that this change needed to happen. This is that point in time. The line is definitely in the sand, and I think we've always said, well, is the line in the sand? There was always that kind of ambiguity about, is the line in the sand now? Remember when Masai first came and he traded away Rudy Gay, Bargnani, that whole stuff? Was the line in the sand then? We're going to tank then? Then all of a sudden they started winning. And then all of a sudden, no, hey, we trade this guy. Then all of a sudden we thought, oh, it's going to be tank season, and we start winning. So they've always defeated all odds. I think right now it's time to really not a total rebuild, but a total retweak, I call it. And I kind of liken this team to, remember when back in the day when Pop first started, with San Antonio, started really taking them to relevance. Remember when they had that one season that no one expected, or one or two seasons, and all of a sudden, I think they had a bad season just out of the blue. Mm-hmm. And what happened when they had that bad season?
Well, yeah, they were actually a really good team prior to, if I'm thinking correctly, prior to Robinson getting hurt, and then they just kind of torpedoed their season, right? But no, they were a good team.
Exactly.
They were a really good team during those times.
Yeah, they're a good team, but I'm saying, like, the relevance, they were not relevant, then they started becoming more relevant. They had, when Robinson got hurt, they had a bad season. Yeah. And then they washed, it was a wash, wiped their hands of it, got Tim Duncan, and went back to work.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, in my perspective, this could be that type of turnaround. We get a key piece. Yeah, we still have the core of the team here. Exactly. We're not far from going back to the fourth place team and potentially, top three. I'm not saying number one, but definitely in the top three if we get a couple of key pieces, right? And we have the core that can move on. I still think that it's a superstar driven league, so the Raptors it's gonna take some time for relevance, but I'm full in the let's go tank, right? Trust the process mode.
Yeah, concede for Cade. That's what you're trying to do right now. You're all in for that.
Yeah,
concede for Cade. So I guess the question is really and truly, like, how much stock do you guys put in, like, the Raptors having to relocate to Tampa this season? Because to me, that I'm looking at
huge.
Yeah, because I think, like,
huge.
I think the fact that, like, the season started 71 days after the NBA Finals. They couldn't even figure out the best location for these guys until, like, close to the training camp, right? If I can remember correctly.
Yep.
And it wasn't even like etched in stone that it would be Tampa, because there was Louisville. I don't know if Buffalo was. I don't think Buffalo was, but I remember
Kansas City.
Louisville. Oh, yeah, it was Kansas City. That's right. Louisville. It was Kansas City. Even Vegas was options.
Nashville,
right? Nashville, like. Yep. That has to play at least somewhat of a small part of it in this season, like, because that just affects continuity, right? You're just thinking, like, lifestyle. Even if you're here, there's no fans, right? Like, families, just your home. Like, you're thinking of some of these guys who have, like, their houses and stuff back in Toronto, and all of a sudden it's like a month before the season starts, you're in this new city. I don't know if you've ever been to Tampa, you know what I mean? But if you haven't, now you have to kind of figure out this whole city, figure out a place to live, whether or not you're going to bring your family with you, you know what I mean? All these things are playing a role, and then now on top of that, you have in this season where it's like everything's kind of up in the air. They're starting quick, you know what I mean? Like, everything is just in flux. It has to affect continuity. So when I look at how they were struggling this season, I'm like, man, yeah, but they're not even home. They're not even home. Yeah. Like, it says the uniforms, it says Toronto on their chest. You know what I mean? It says it on the court. But they're not, like, as you said, like, you got like 1,000 fans in the stands, and half of them, 500 of them are rooting for the other team. You know what I mean?
But you know what, though? But I still, even with that being said, it was definitely a factor. I still had them making playoffs.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I just thought that, but as you talked about with their core, they had a solid core. They played well in the bubble, like, away from home, and well enough, not in that second playoff round, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt that they still had a good enough team to do well. But I just think with all the other factors on top of that, as you said, the Tampa, like living or relocating or living from a suitcase, but it was just too much. and then that COVID stretch. Like honestly,
Yeah.
they were still in it. Like they weren't as bad as they were before when they all got hit with that 2 weeks. And it was like 2 weeks. It was like 7 games in those 2 weeks too, and they lost like 8 games in a row. And then they, so I think it was just too many factors to predict how much it will impact them and to predict where they were finished.
Yep.
And it hurt them. It hurt them big time.
No,
To the point where they just had to trade Powell, right? To the point where they just said, forget it. Let's just start over and reset. Not to rebuild, but just do a reset going into next year.
Yeah, and that's a tough call too because at the moment they're 18-30, but I think even with that said too, it's been kind of hard to watch them this season. You kind of feel like just watching them play, like everything just has to break just right. Like that margin for error is so thin. Like, and that's with everybody healthy. You know what I mean? But then when you add injuries and you add like the COVID outbreaks, that just completely eradicates the margin for error. You know what I mean? But
they were losing a lot of games in the fourth quarter too.
Yeah,
like a lot of those games. I would guess to even say 50% of those games were like less than 4 or 5 points that they lost in the fourth quarter or second half.
Absolutely.
So it's not like they're getting like blown away, and you can look at it with yourself. If you watch games, you can tell like this team is good or what team is bad. And Raptors team is good. It's just that they just weren't, and I attribute all of that stuff to what we just mentioned, all of those factors, right?
Yeah, it's a
of
big,
losing in the fourth quarter or second half, or
it's a big clusterfuck for sure. And it's like that's the thing. Like I know some people want to blame Masai for like not replacing Serge and Marc Gasol, like we all know, but and obviously we all know that losing both, I don't think we expected that to happen. But only ending up with Aaron Baines to start, I think you automatically have to like kind of temper expectations. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, who would you have committed big money to as a big man? Would you like spent the big money on Christian Wood? Would it have made sense to have both him and Chris Boucher man the paint? Like Tristan Thompson?
No, but you have to remember that the plan in going into the offseason was Project Giannis. Right?
Yeah.
So
they were all
they were all into, they threw all their chips at the table to get Giannis. I think they really thought they had a chance, and I mean I can't blame Masai, because obviously he must have had some internal intel to think that he it was worth doing that, but they put the chips in for Giannis. It didn't work, and then it was like, where do we go now? So they had different avenues already planned, and I think this was one of the avenues. Obviously, when they let go of Serge, and we're hearing all types of rumors that they could have re-signed Serge, but I think this was the first time since Masai's been here that he was like, look, I'm going to have to tear this down and start it back up.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different things that I would have thought we could have potentially done with the young core, but obviously they have, names on the whiteboard that they're going to target either in the off season or in draft.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I agree with all that. And it's funny because it almost seems like it was so long ago, but I mean, they tried to, they bet against the house, to get Giannis, and they lost. Right. Same thing that everybody happens in Vegas. That happens to everybody in Vegas, right? You bet against the house a lot of times and you don't win, but it's.
I'm not mad at that either.
No, it's something that I was going to say. So I think that's something that we all would do. Like we all were all in for that. I think in one of our chats that was our profile pick, Giannis in a Raptors shirt. So like we're all for it.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. Gamble, not at all.
No,
and that's the first player that I can think of. And geez, guys, we've been together in this Raptor kind of conundrum for a while. I think this is the first major free agent in recent time that even the U.S. media was like, "Yo, the Raps they're up there to get this guy." Right? Think about it. We were up there. It was like neck and neck with him going back to Milwaukee, which everybody was like, it's a very high possibility. It was us, Miami, and Dallas.
Yeah.
Those are the markets that everybody was like, yo, it could possibly happen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Masai knew what he was doing. and I give it to him.
For sure. And I think I agree with the move, and I think if you had to do it again, you would do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I would do it again. But it's just,
sure.
You just wish that, like, and I get it, because I know Serge wanted like a 2-year or 3-year deal, and they only offered him like a 1 because they're trying to keep that space clear just in case, Mr. Antetokounmpo decided to cross the border. Which, again, I like, who says no to that? I totally understand that. Regardless of how people think that him and Pascal might be redundant, but I don't care. I'm like, you figure that shit out later. You know what I mean? You figure that out later, but like you have them playing. Now, before we continue further, can we pour out a little bit of something for Norman Powell, especially after he wrote together that great essay thanking the city, in the
Most
definitely.
Definitely.
Just share your feelings. I know you're the Raptors guy. Share your feelings, Julian. Share your feels. Give us your feels. Give us your feels on Norm leaving.
Well, first of all, I said that those player Tribune articles are amazing. Like those writers and like the players.
Yeah.
The way that they're able to express their feelings and current feelings so quickly. Like I thought that was amazing. I just love that.
Because your brother did one, right?
Yeah, he did one. Yeah, he did two.
Oh, he did two. That's right. No, Joel did one. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
he did two. You're right.
He did two. So, and I was involved with the process, so I know how it works with the writers, and they help. And he writes a lot, and they come correct and whatnot. But I just loved, Norm's. It just felt personal, as if he was speaking to
us,
speaking to me. Yo, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss you, Julian. I'm gonna miss you, young TFSA.
I'm gonna miss you, man. Don't forget me, man. I'm not gonna, all of that kind of stuff. And that's how those writers do. And he wrote it, so I loved it for that. And I loved like the little personal stories that he went back to when his rookie year, and having mentors, like how, like he expressed how important it was to have vets like Lowry and DeMar in his first early going years, and and like even going down to the G League, and like I just thought that he touched on everything in that little short piece, and he's the kind of player like you can root for, like not undrafted, a second round pick, like one of your own picks, going through the G League, grinding it, and it's similar to like DeMar. That's how I looked at DeMar too. Like DeMar was a first round pick, but he never had the skill sets to be like a lottery type pick, and he worked his way to a point where he's an all-star. So I just love those kind of like get it out the mud type players like Van Vliet and Powell, and it's so easy to cheer for guys like that, right? So I'll be still cheering for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a culture shift, right? It's when we first all got together on this whole Raptor kind of, on our chat group, we started really discussing a lot more about the logistics of Raptor basketball when it was in the dumps. We were witnessing like a shift of culture at that time. We laughed at the time with the old Pound the Rock, but now look at that Pound the Rock era, and look at all the players. Like I was just thinking about the other day. Look at all the players that all those young players that came in and where they're at now in their careers. Even they're on other teams, they're all successful. Like look at. I mean, we could laugh at Giannis. Giannis is doing well where he's at. You could see even what's his name down in Orlando, Terrence Ross. He's doing, he has his own role that he's doing. He has his own.
Sorry, you said Giannis?
Aura about him. Not Jonas.
Oh, Jonas. I'm saying.
Yeah. You did say Giannis, but Jonas. Yeah.
Sorry.
I was going to say shit. Did we have him?
No, I'm saying Valanciunas. Valanciunas is doing his thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
True.
And you look at DeRozan, obviously, he got slighted, should have been an all-star. Larry ended up being, Captain Canada. You got that whole squad, that nucleus, even though they all slowly went their ways, they all were successful in their own rights. Okay, think about it now. If you were to bring all those pieces back and have them now on this team, how do you think the Raptors would fare?
It's a good-ass team.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good-ass team.
Yeah.
And what's crazy
Norman Powell, all those guys, it'd be crazy.
It's crazy. You know what's crazy? It just shows you how important having your draft picks are, too. Especially for Toronto, right? Because we're not signing no major free agents. Almost every single one of those guys you mentioned were draft picks, or second round, signed free agents. Like
they were,
right? So it's like
DeLon Wright.
Right? Well, Lowry was signed or traded for, but everybody else, Everybody else was draft picks.
Yeah, DeLon Wright, you could even mention him too.
Yep, DeLon. Yep.
Yeah, but no, you're right though. I think it speaks to like, and this is why the Raptors are considered, because of Masai and the vision that Masai and Tim Leiweke had before when they just started. The culture, what you're talking about, Randall, like it's now world class. Like winning that championship was like the stamp of approval. That it was like sitting on top of Sugar Hill, obviously, but it gave them that carte blanche now, like where that we have this respect. You know what I mean? Regardless of what's going to happen, you're going to respect what we do in our organization, right? And you're looking at it from top to bottom. Like that's to me is like the epitome of a great franchise, of great culture, where you can constantly, unearth gems or get the most out of each and every draft pick, no matter where they're drafted. You know what I mean? You're going to get the most out of them, and I think that speaks to like the culture. That speaks to a great franchise like that. The best franchises are able to. Because let me look at Miami. Look how old Pat Riley is. Like, how long has Pat Riley been unearthing gems? Like, it's still happening right in Miami, right? But it speaks to the culture. And I mean, and because of location and stuff, that's why they're going to still always be in play to get these major free agents. Now, Toronto doesn't have that kind of a factor, but they have the same kind of thing that goes along with them, right? Just as you mentioned, all those players that's playing in that passed through the city or got drafted by these guys, and it's like they're gone on to like be like very respectable NBA players, if not really good NBA players. And and the ones that's passed through has been successful too. I mean, including obviously Kawhi, you know what I mean? But like even like a Corey Joseph. Like Corey Joseph was riding the bench in San Antonio. He came here, solidified himself, and now he's got a career as like a vet. They always say like the best compliment you can call a professional is a veteran, right? That's like the best. That's like the best compliment you can say about any player in any league, that you're a veteran. That means that you have that longevity. You got that value that no matter what happens, like people know who you are. They respect you. As soon as you hear your name, it comes with a level of respect.
Exactly.
So, and
that respect not only comes from the court, it comes from the person, like the actual character. Like all these players that the Raptors drafted, they have character too, or leaders. Like community type guys, and that's what builds that culture. What you're talking about, right? And when people come here, they work hard. You grind it, you get it out the mud, and everybody knows that nothing's given to you here, and everybody knows you can't like F around in the locker room or it's that culture, right? Because it's the personality of the team, of the individual players that they make up that culture. So that's what's important too. Like they're drafting and they're finding gems, but they're also finding gems of human beings, like people.
Absolutely.
And that's what creates that culture. So that's why I'm not too worried about like what we have now and going forward, because I think the culture is being established, as what you're saying. Plus with that ring and championship, we should be good.
Yeah. To speak to what you're saying, going back to Norm, like that's the one thing you always would hear as well, just from people. I've met him a couple of times, and people that I know who know him and stuff, like all by a good guy, great guy by all accounts. You know what I mean? Like you knew things had to end, but he's been playing well for most of the last 2 years, especially. But again, he's an unrestricted free agent going into the summer. He's going to get paid, and it's not a guarantee that we can afford him or like tie up big money to him either. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the problem with Norm with us is that we have too many guards already, right? Like, and we can't reinvest more into another guard.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like I know Lowry's leaving, but right now we got holes up front. And to invest that kind of money into Norm, who I think is deserving of this year. Prior years, Norm's problem that he just wasn't consistent, right?
Yeah.
This is the first year where I can honestly say he's been consistent. Like I was expecting him to put up like 18 plus points, and to hit that open three ball in the corner, like I was expecting him to do it. But we can't. I would have done the same thing and like let him go and then maybe revisit it in the off season, but to invest like another like Van Vliet type contract into him, it would work. It would work, but we need to focus otherwise. Like we can't do that right now.
Yeah, and I think it was a classy move by Masai and Bobby Webster just to send him to like a a new situation where he can succeed and also have a chance to like win some, like have some real stake in the playoffs and win some games. Although,
for teams that are going to trade for Norm, they know they're going to get a rental anyhow, right? So any team that's going to do that, it's going to be a playoff contending or a championship contending team. Otherwise, you'd be an idiot if you're like, Sacramento or somebody who's not going to.
Right, but I think with Portland, like they have a chance to like obviously to keep him, right? Like they're gonna.
Well, you know what? I don't.
What he wants to get paid.
To be honest with you, I was shocked that Portland wanted him because they already have CJ and Dame, right? So now I see that they got Norm playing the 3, like small forward.
Yeah.
So I was like, he can do it, but against those big small forwards, he can't.
The West is going to be too tough.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. So I don't see him fitting in, to be honest. Unless if CJ become a free agent, I don't know. But like, I don't see him.
No, I think they're both locked up for a while.
No.
Yeah,
I just see him as that kind of Vinny Johnson microwave third guard coming off the first guard coming off the bench and just unleashing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Almost like a Lou Williams type of role.
But
a better Lou Williams.
Since Norm has been there, I think they've been winning.
Yeah.
So whatever they're doing is working, right? And it's adding that. What happens? It takes a little bit more pressure off of both those guards.
Yeah, Dame and CJ. Yeah.
So it's unorthodox, but it's working, right? And they're playing a little bit more of the small ball. And I think they pushed, Covington to the 4?
Yeah.
And
Nurk is back, right? And Nurk
is coming back.
Yeah.
Is he back now?
No, he is back.
No,
he's
back.
He's back. So they got that one big, and they're using that one big surrounding with 4 small.
Yeah.
Covington's not small, but you know what I'm saying. Like, they are playing a bit of small ball with that one big.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But like,
I mean, it's working.
No, again, like he was a good guy, a good Raptor, a very good Raptor. Played his role well. I always loved how he brought it against the Bucks. Like he was like the Bucks' kryptonite, especially, and which was important, especially when the Bucks became title contenders. He always had that game that he was going to come to kill the Bucks at some point, which was like, every time they always played in the playoffs, he always had a big game against or a good series against Milwaukee, which is really cool. And I can't believe, honestly, like he's worked himself to the point where he was actually 3rd in the NBA in 3-point percentage. Like the fact that corner 3, that left corner 3, he actually makes the most field goals in the league. Like he actually leads the league in threes from that, from baskets in that area.
I saw that infographic. I
thought it was crazy. Wow. I looked at that. I was like, I had to take a triple take at that.
Yeah, but remember, was it last year at the beginning of our podcast last year our first one, preseason one? I was telling you guys, my boy, shout out to Coach Edson Jones. He's a trainer. He trains all like the NBA players that are in the city.
I do remember this.
And I told you guys, he came back after last year and preseason. He goes, I train all these NBA guys. He goes, I just was through with Brogdon, all these Dellavedova, Thon Maker, Ibaka. He goes, I just finished training all of them this summer, like, all these guys naming it. He goes, Norm, I've never had a workout like the one I just had with Norm Powell. I trained all these NBA guys.
Yeah,
I told you that last year.
No, you said it. You said it on the pod too. I remember that. You did. You said that on the pod. He was
the best. Like he goes, I've never seen. He goes, he did not miss. And
really?
I said Norm Powell. He goes, the guy was phenomenal. He goes, my job. He goes, I was working him out. He goes, very rare that I work out something, and I'm like, damn. He goes, I was working him out, and he was like, it was crazy. I was like, Norm Powell. He goes, Norm Powell, insane workout, the best workout I've ever done. This guy's the real deal. He's the real deal, and this guy sees like NBA players every day. He goes, he is the real deal. And then he had a so-so season. I kept telling y'all, this is what my man says. And then this year,
you
showed him proof.
I remember that last year podcast. You did say it. I remember that specifically. Yeah. But on top of that, you add to the fact that he also trained with Kobe coming into that season too. That also helped as well, right? Because Kobe had that academy the one year that he had it, obviously before he passed. But he had that academy, and the fact that he was even invited to that too was that was a pretty big deal, right?
Well, he's from that area, right?
Right,
He went
but
to
still.
UCLA, so
Yeah.
he has.
And
But
practicing with DeMar, like, you know, if your team makeup is solid with deep depth and you got an all-star in your same position, you know, you're gonna have to be guarding them in practice and all that. All of that would just make you better, man.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but he wanted. But the only thing that it's interesting is that he wanted to come back to the Raptors, but at the same token, he was pretty vocal about starting. He didn't want to be in that 6-man role anymore.
Yeah. No, he did say that this year. You're talking about, like, he was.
Yeah, this year.
You know, like that's what he's supposed to say and do, because it's his contract year, right? And you gotta, create that perceived value like or whatnot, right? So don't get me wrong, but it worked out for him because those guys got COVID, and this guy went on a rampage.
Yeah.
Like, he was the only guy that was scoring. He was scoring like 30, 40 points a game.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
There was nobody else. There was literally nobody else.
No.
But
Chris Boucher had a good run too.
Yeah,
he did have a good run. He did.
Absolutely.
He did.
And shout out to him too with the sneaker deal. Like, that's big for him too, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm happy for him.
Very happy for him. With Masai's contract coming up for renewal at the end of the season, what do you guys think he does? Does it make you feel like a little bit better that most of the upper management's contracts, like Bobby Webster, has been re-upped? Like, does it give you some sort of confidence that maybe like he'll fall in line and be the next one, or are you guys still on the fence of being nervous?
No, I'm nervous. Like, in terms of nervous, in terms of Masai coming back, or nervous about the Raptors?
No, it's about Masai coming back.
Yeah, I'm nervous because he hasn't signed it yet. Right? Yeah. Until he signs it, then I'll be okay with it. Because at this point, you don't know what's going to happen, right? And I don't know what's on his mind. But to me, it feels like he's not coming back. Right? That's what it feels like. Just the way he's communicating with the media. And the way he's, it's kind of like if he's hinting as if he's not, by not saying anything. To me, in my eyes.
But Julian, he's done that. That's been his demeanor from time. From the time he stepped in, you don't know what's going on. It's not like rumors are leaking left, right, and center. Only this past year we started hearing a lot more stuff. But Raptor rumors were pretty tight for a while, right? And this Masai thing, I mean, I don't treat it any different. He did say, he goes, look, he said at the in the offseason, he said, I am going to renegotiate my contract at the end of the season. He said it many times.
Yeah.
It's not like he's hiding it. He said, I'm going to when the season's done, we're going to get to work and talk about it. Right? Yeah. My thing is, I have a strong feeling if he leaves the Raptors, for some odd reason, I don't think he's going to go to another team. Mm-hmm. I think it's outside the basketball realm.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking too, and that's what I'm thinking. Why he's not. I think he wants to negotiate at the end of the season because of this. Like, he's not sure what he wants to do. Yeah, I don't think it's because of Toronto. I don't think it's management saying we're going to wait till later. Like, I think management, if they can have him sign a multi-year deal, they would do it right now. Management.
Oh, hell yeah.
I think, right? But I just think he's not doing it. And that's what makes me worry about him leaving. But I do agree with you. I don't see him going to another team, at least not immediately right afterwards. I do see him maybe going to politics or just taking a year off. Or I don't know to be honest, because he keeps his cards close to himself. I don't really know what he wants to do, but I definitely feel it's him who's saying he's not sure, or it's Masai is the reason why he doesn't have a contract right now.
Obviously, I think he's the most important piece to resolve in terms of a free agent, more than anybody else for the Raptors. And obviously, the fact that he hasn't signed his extension, it does make me nervous too. But I think you're right. Like, after everything he's done, I think it's pretty clear. And I think they did try to offer him, right? I don't think that was like a secret. I think they did try, like, put on the table, like, yeah, we'll obviously re-sign him back. But to me, I think it goes without saying. I think you make him the highest paid GM in the game. And if you can, you give him a piece of the franchise, a percentage. But I wonder too, right? Because, like, the uncertainty of where they're even going to play even next season is something to look at.
No,
too.
they'll be playing at home.
You think they're going to be
next year.
back in Toronto?
Oh yeah, next season for sure.
I don't. Okay.
They're already. No. I do believe so. I do believe
honestly, the fact that we're the city's back under lockdown again, I'm kind of just throwing everything out the window at this point. Where I'm like, it's not to me. Like I don't look at it as a slam dunk. Because
I'm with you too. I'm with you too. I don't think it's slam dunk either. I mean, I would love to say that, but
I hope I'm wrong by thinking that. But I'm like, I just at this stage, I'm like, honestly, I don't know. And to me, you're looking at it like again, family thing, right? You're looking to keep your family in one place. Do you want to keep uprooting them if you don't have to? And he's got leverage to stay a while wherever he goes. Like if he decides to actually go to another team. It's not going to be a situation where it's like, well, you got a season or two to flip this. Like, he's got enough leverage where wherever he goes, whether it's Toronto, whether he decides to do his own thing, whether he goes to another team, like, he's got leverage to stay a while. You know what I mean? And then plus with everything that's happened regarding, like, social justice, Black Lives Matter, I mean, and that's what I mean. Like, could he expand to do other things politically? And then, including, like, could he expand, like, even the Giants of Africa Foundation that he has? Like, it's... There's a lot of like lotto balls in the air, so to speak.
It's whatever he wants to do.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Day, whatever passion or what's going to drive him to keep going it's he's going to do at this point. So yeah, it's up to him. It's up to him, really. The ball's in his court. He has all the control.
Yeah, and honestly,
he has all the control.
And honestly, if he decides to go that route where he's going to do something to like political or social justice side, honestly, I'm 1,000% with them. I've obviously, yes, as a fan, I want him to stay, where he's at and continue to build the Raptors, like, be like almost like that Pat Riley where he's there for 20 years. You don't question the position. You know what I mean? We all know what a Raptors culture is. It all starts with him. Like, you want to see that, but, if he decides to go this route, I won't be mad because it's obviously for something bigger. But, I mean, selfishly, I want him to come back, though.
Sure. But when we say politics, do you guys think it's Canadian politics?
I'm not sure. That's the thing.
That's a good question. Yeah.
I'm not sure. It could be.
I've heard that a few times now. That's why I'm like.
Oh, like
and I know someone said his wife is from DC or something too.
She is. Yeah, she is. So could it be something in the States? You think he can replace Trudeau? You think he could be the PM?
Shoot, you never know, man.
You vote for him?
Hell yeah!
You vote for
Masai, him? And Masai, we trust. We've said it many times.
Yep. Yeah. Who knows? But that's a good question. I guess I've always I've seen him in a role in a Canadian government or municipal government. Like I because we're from here, but I never really thought about him going Florida or something, or some other state being in politics. So I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know.
So. Let's look at the coaching perspective here. What are your thoughts on Nick Nurse this season in comparison to last year?
So you can't really blame Nick Nurse for what's going on though. Like I listen, you guys know I'm not a big Nick Nurse fan. I think he really I'm just not. Like I think he's a good coach, but I think
your heart pumps Casey. Your heart pumps Casey.
Yeah. I like Dwayne, but I don't think Nick Nurse is that great a coach. But at the same time, he's proven me wrong, just like Fred VanVleet proved me wrong, and I'll eat my words on that. But I'm going to stick up for him on this one and say, look, like you can't judge his body of work from what he's been dealt with. Like I don't think many coaches could deal with a roster like this, and the circumstances, right? Everything's in flux. Like you said, like they were practicing out of a ballroom for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think.
You can't blame him. Yeah, you definitely can't fully blame him, and for the way that the season has turned out. In terms of his maturation or growth in the role, I personally think it kind of stagnated a bit this year, but not to the point that it caused them losses. It's just so many things I'm watching, like some of the minutes distribution, like this year. Like I know he has a bench full of guards under 6'5" guards, but like just seeing the rotation. I don't like the rotation this year. I don't like his antics on the sidelines this year.
Yeah.
Like he
complains a lot. Yeah.
He's complaining
You're right.
more so than ever before. And it's to the point where I want to say, yo, just relax. He's like he's like having issues with players now. Like he's screaming at players. Siakam and
who else he screamed at?
He screamed at somebody. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Was it? Well, that's a given. I was going to say TD, Terrence Davis. But I was I can't remember who. I can't remember. But I just don't like what I'm seeing from his body language on the side. It may sound minimal, but like the way he was more composed last year or the years before. This year,
he had bets.
Taking off his mask. Like before that, he even got that incident that fined by the ref. I think he took off his mask and he threw it at him. Throughout the beginning of the year, I was like, "Yo, what are you doing? Taking off your like I'm not a mask like fanatic like wear your mask, but it just looked bad. Like just the way he was behaving on the sidelines in terms of maturity. Like I don't know. It may sound minimal, it may sound petty, but I just didn't like what I was seeing. But in terms of what. Go ahead. Yep.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish your point.
No. I was going to say in terms of what Randall said, I agree. Like he's not to blame for the season and whatnot. But if I had to pick on one thing, two things is like the rotation. I didn't like. Sometimes I feel like, yeah, Boucher is too small to play the 5. Don't get me wrong. But and we have Baines. I don't like Baines either, right? But Baines was getting some minutes like in the early going in the fourth quarter where the other team was small, and I'm like, yo, Baines is not even rebounding. He's not doing anything.
Hey, Gasol. There was a point that Gasol wasn't doing anything too, and he just liked some big white centers.
You got it? You understand what I'm saying? He did it good.
I told you.
I'm not that up. That's a great point. That's a great point. Like, he kept on riding Gasol. I just thought he kept on riding Gasol because Gasol was a free agent, and he was trying to give him his time to shine. Because that's what some coaches do. Like if they know you're a free agent, they're gonna like give you the ball and make you give you an opportunity to earn your next contract.
Well, Aaron's a free agent.
Aaron's a free. He has a player option. I never knew Aaron was 30. He's like 34, 35. He's
not
old,
young.
man.
He's not young.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I thought he was younger than that. But anyhow, that's off topic. But yeah, I didn't like his rotation at some points this year. But at the same time, he was dealt with cards that made him difficult. That made it difficult for him to find a rotation. But anyhow, that's my answer to Nurse. He's not fully to blame, but I didn't like at some points this year how he coached the Raps.
It's funny because I think he's a good coach. I still think he's a good coach. But I'm kind of like you guys. Like you wonder with the losing, like if you're starting to lose that shine as well. Because really and truly, up until the bubble, I think it was pretty universally. He was universally regarded as like one of the best coaches in the league. I mean, obviously he won Coach of the Year last year, but just deeper than that, like I just think people had him as like top 3 coaches in the league. All the schemes he was running was phenomenal from the finals. Like last year was probably, and I know I keep mirroring the 93-94 Bulls season, that season without MJ, but a lot of people say that was Phil Jackson's best coaching job. Because he obviously didn't have Jordan, they were still one of the best teams in the NBA. He still figured it out. And I feel like last year, for him, being a second-year coach, that was one of the best coaching jobs I've seen in a long time. Like, just how he performed.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Last year, I'm talking about
confident,
last season. Yeah, like I thought like some of the schemes he was doing, I was like, yo, this is actually like phenomenal. Like I thought, I think we all kind of thought like, yo, these analysts are. Like, you can tell sometimes, we always say this, you can tell, like, who watches the Raptors across the border and who doesn't. Because the way they were ranking the Raptors last year, like, okay, you guys aren't actually watching these games. You guys really just thought it was just Kawhi and nobody else on this team, right? But I think since his performance in the second round in the bubble last year, he's been questioned a lot more. Like, he's still respected enough in the league where, obviously he has a little bit of a coaching tree, which is interesting because he's only been a head coach for less than 3 years, and he already has 2 assistants that already left to be their own head coach, and one that almost basically is pretty much on his way, I think, with Adrian Griffin. But the fact that like him and Pascal's bumped heads, that's not good. You know what I mean? But again, I think losing after winning for so long, it can make any situation turn ugly, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I agree. But again, I just question again. Yeah, he was running Stanley Johnson for like 25 minutes a game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on here? That you got the right scheme and he's doing everything right, but he's putting in players that I'm like, what are you doing? It came to a point I thought they were tanking, like before they even lost that 10 games in a row, because I couldn't gather how certain guys were getting minutes in crunch time.
Yeah.
So it's just his choice of players, and I know Stanley Johnson is great defensively, and he is good defensively, right? But it comes to he fits his schemes well. But even before that, he had Makar in like last year. Like he has his favorites that I don't get, and that's the only thing I do question is his selection of players at certain times and rotation. But the schemes defensively, the Raps were one of the best defensive teams, man. The way that they rotate, they're amazing, and I credit him, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, and then remember, like he was calling out guys after when they win the chip. All of a sudden, he's talking about how some players are, what was it, Stanley Johnson and Rondé Jefferson.
Yeah.
And it was a culture thing, right? But he's a particular dude. He likes his type. There's a type of player you could tell he likes. Every coach has that. And at the end of the day, I don't care who he plays as long as we win.
It's fun. It's funny though to speak with that. Like it's weird because when he was doing that last year, I thought it was cool and a little bit refreshing, but it also gave me pause at the same time. If that makes sense, like. It was cool to see.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, it was cool to see him call out people because it was like, yo, like,
it was.
If you're not establishing yourself, like you're not gonna play that kind of thing. And I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty refreshing. You know what I mean? But at the same time, and again, he has been part of the culture because up until from most of that, We the North era, he was an assistant coach, so he has been part of the culture, right? So I'll give him that for sure. But at the same time, I'm like. But you're Nick Nurse, though. Like, I know you're a good coach, but like you haven't been there that long to be doing this. You know what I mean? So it's it gave me pause.
He won the chip, though.
No, granted, no question about it. But it's still like this wasn't like Phil Jackson or Popovich or you know what I mean? Like or even a Doc Rivers being like, hey, if you're not playing, like if you're not doing this, you're not playing. Like it was like.
But I don't think he would ever be like that though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like ever have that respect because he's not a former NBA player. And he's not a vet from the league, so I don't think he would ever get it. Even if he attempted it now, 3 years or 10 years down the line. Honestly, even with a ring, I still don't think it would have that same tone coming from or respectability from like a Doc or a Phil Jackson kind of thing. Right. So I do see a point, but I also want to say, good points to both of you guys. One thing about Nurse, he calls you out, like, and which I should have acknowledged that he called us Siakam too, like a year ago.
Yeah, he did.
When he came off the bench, he left, like he went to the change room before the game ended, and he I guess he suspended him one game, or I can't remember, or benched him.
They didn't start him or something. Yeah,
they do have a little bit of a history so far, like from what I'm looking at now. Yeah. But Nurse, you're right, Randall. He does call out guys, which I do like, and he's fair across the board from what it seems like.
Okay, so is any of you going to enjoy and reminisce over Kyle's last 20 plus games of his Raptors career?
Reminisce. No, it's not.
Is he gonna play? Is he gonna play the last couple?
You wonder if he's gonna get the Al Horford treatment?
No, I don't think so.
Or the Andre Drummond treatment?
The Drummond or Griffin treatment.
I say Horford because at least those guys were, they were getting sat up until the trade deadline and get bought out. But Horford is like after everything was done, they're just like, okay, well, you just watch us and just come to the practices. And he's like, okay, cool.
That was one of the worst deals ever, really. But anyhow,
it was.
Like for me, for Lowry is these last couple of games. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to be watching many games. I don't know if I'm going to be watching many games, to be honest with you. But you don't want to watch the train wreck.
Nah, Julian, you're actually not allowed to get off this train. The way you've been,
I'm not getting off it. The
way you've been kicking people in their back. I mean, I don't mean to get off the train. I mean, get off in the terms of like you're gonna like take a pause and watch them play. I don't think you're allowed to do that. You've committed way too much time watching the Raptors do good and do bad, kicking people in their back when they're trying to get on the wagon. Now, you gotta watch all of this now. Like even if you're the last one on the bus, let that shit go to the end of the station. Like you gotta go with it this
right.
time. Honestly, you're not allowed to do that, bro. You're not allowed to do that.
Honestly,
right?
I'm being very honest with you. This is the first time in the existence of the organization that I've taken like a week off. Like I didn't watch any games last week. I swear to you, the first time ever. No, I would always maybe not watch an entire game, but there's never a time where I missed more than 2 quarters. I've watched a half minimum for the last like 15 years. Minimum. If I'm home. Like obviously if I'm out and about. But if I'm home and the game's on, there's never a chance where I'm not watching it. There's never.
Julian?
Even when they were like dismal.
Julian?
I'm telling you the truth. I wouldn't watch nothing on Netflix. I bet now I'm watching the game. We'll watch something after the game.
Julian?
Yep.
Julian, you're suspended.
It's the truth.
Julian, you're suspended. You're suspended.
Why? For being a diehard?
Yeah, you're suspended.
No, man. I'm telling you that. But that's how much of a Raptor fan I've always been. You should know that by now. Like I've never really missed a game. Even when Joe, my brother's playing hockey games, I'd be like, yo, let's go back and forth. We're watching both games. Mm-hmm. So, but now, but seriously, this has been the longest stretch where I've been, like, I watched the last 2 games. I came back to start watching again. But before the trade deadline, like when they were losing that 8 games and everybody was out with the COVID, like, I was not watching that. I couldn't watch it. I could not watch Danny Johnson go up and down, push the fast break. Like, I couldn't see him. I couldn't see it. It was bothering me.
You know what's crazy, Julian, is that I watched it during that time frame because I really enjoyed watching certain plays. Like I enjoyed watching Norman Powell do his thing, and I enjoyed watching, like I think we mentioned Slim Duck. Like I enjoyed that brand about like certain guys emerging and showing what they can do, and I mean,
well, if it's like a draft pick, like honestly, I would watch. It may sound weird, but if it's what's his name? What's the draft pick we have now? Shoot, forget his name already. I'm terrible with names. What's the draft pick that we have for the Raptors? First round pick.
Malachi Flynn?
Yeah, Flynn. If Flynn was like starting, I would like, let me watch him because I want to see what this guy can really do. So yeah, I would do that. But with Norm, I know what Norm can do. I like watching Slim there, but it was to a point where like he's on the floor with Yuta and Stanley Johnson and I like Ben Murray.
It's like a G League team.
Yeah, I'm not watching this. I'm not. And to see the teams beat us like Detroit twice back to back and Houston, Rockets.
First time in like Casey smiles. My man Casey.
It touched your soul in a negative way.
It did. But yeah, I'm not gonna be like for Lowry's send off. Like I'll watch the last game for sure, the whole game. But I'm not gonna be like watching every game. And as Rand says, I don't really think he's gonna be playing out the rest of the season fully anyhow. So.
Well, I think for Raptors fans,
I don't even think he can. Well,
what do you mean he can't?
He's getting injured.
Well, right now he's got an infected foot, right? So he's missing the next 2 weeks.
Oh.
I don't even think that's not real. That's not. I'm telling you that now. Like there's, like I don't. I'm not. Okay. I'm obviously I don't know, right? But if I had to guess,
so you think it's an ingrown toenail that's turned into an infection?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
100%. Listen. There's to the point where it's like, why are you playing? Why risk injury when you're going into? You're 35. You're balling like crazy at this age, which is amazing. Why risk anything? And why risk the team losing and lowering your value on top of that, like kind of thing, right? So it just looks because that kind of ball is ugly to watch sometimes when you see who's on the floor, and it's just going to lower his value. So Matt, you might as well just take the next week off, let us lose on top of that, and come back, play a game there, 2 games, and then look good and go back again.
I
That's
think.
what I would.
So do you think Larry? Do you think Larry's gone? He's out. 100%.
Yes, 100%. Why would we want him back?
No chance he signs back, not even for a little bit of money.
No. There's a greater chance of us re-signing DeMar than Kyle.
Wow.
Well,
honestly, why? We got Fred VanVleet now. To be honest, we're paying him money to lead this team.
Yeah,
and
he's ready for the role. He's ready for the role. Like
more than beyond ready.
Yeah,
he's ready now.
Yeah,
right? Like honestly, like, his leadership off the court, on the court, his composure. He's a leader.
Yeah.
I don't mind this signing, but do you want to bring Kyle back to play the 2 guard or play and how much does Kyle want? Like that's another thing. He can't be getting. I don't know. I wouldn't give him no more than Van Vliet money, right? So,
but that's
at
the
this
thing.
point-
I think for Raptors fans, like I think you just have to get all the Lowry gear that you can get. Like so, Julia, I suggest maybe you go get a jersey, your kid a jersey.
Yeah, I would.
You know,
I would.
like, I think that's where it's kind of at right now. And look, like he's, you know, like at this stage, he's the GOAT, the greatest Raptor of all time at this point, just based on the longevity and the fact that he has a chip.
Whoa. No, I'm just joking. I was going to say DeMar, but no, go ahead.
And yo, he gave us some. I mean, it wasn't all smooth as you guys know, because he gave us some rocky periods. Because I remember some of those, you know, the Raptor playoff podcast that I would be doing every year, and I think that actually might be broken this year. But the fact that like some of those games we were coming back. You remember we would come back like,
for
Jesus
sure.
Christ, Lowry, like good God,
Man.
like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know. Like he left us like bitter a lot of times in some of those playoff games. But I think after what happened in 2019, and somewhat a little bit even in 2018, because he wasn't that bad in 2018, but 2019, I think it just changed for him, and now he was like, because I love watching him in the playoffs last year, you know, and how he's
not only that,
then.
he wasn't really like that Raptor. He didn't like he was grumpy too, like when he first got here.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
He wasn't like
he matured a lot. He matured a lot.
He has. He definitely has.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So like I even remember hearing a story from Joel when he was telling me how he saw Larry in Vegas and they had the same trainer, and he was like he just couldn't stand just being around him back then. Then he saw him again. He's like, "This is the same guy?"
Yeah. You could see you could see him on the bench or off. Like he was sour.
He was moody. He's one of those moody guys.
And he was getting like heavy. Remember we were calling him Fat Boy at one point. Like,
and DeMar was too.
DeMar was what heavy? Or
no,
sour?
calling him
DeMar
fat.
was called.
Okay. I was like, watch your tone, Randall. What? I don't recall.
No, DeMar, man, hell no.
Yeah, so that's why, like, when people say Lowry's the GOAT, like, I'm like, okay, I can't argue with you, but like, in my eyes, he wasn't the perfect Raptor. Vince Carter wasn't. Bosh wasn't. Like, those guys wanted to leave.
No.
I can't give those guys. We had a debate in my chat group today about who the top 5 greatest Raptors, and I said, you guys may argue with me, but I had Calderon. I had Calderon over Bosh, and they're like, you can't do that.
What are you talking about, man?
Come on,
I swear to God, I do.
Stop
I
it,
do.
Julian.
Like if you said you had someone
is Bargnani number 2?
No, but I'm just saying in terms of the love for the city and the country and kind of like who we kind of like not drafted, but we signed up, like who loved being here, who was a Raptor favorite.
Well,
like, I'm not talking about caliber or skill level. I'm not talking about that.
Calderon
I'm just saying like
favorite?
a Raptor. What's that?
Calderon was a favorite?
He was a fan favorite. What are you talking about? You must be talking about Bargnani. I'm not saying like he was the like number 1, number 2 overall. But I'm saying Bosh, with the way he left, he doesn't even recognize Toronto now. I don't even think.
I don't even think people
why am I
recognize
going to love
him as
somebody? Why am I going to love somebody who doesn't love us back? Like I'm saying to these guys, what are you guys doing? Like,
well, Garber Hosa loved Toronto too before he broke his leg.
Who?
I said Garber Hosa loved Toronto too before he broke his leg.
Yeah, that's fine, but he never shitted on Toronto after when he left, like Bosh did. Bosh never even he doesn't even acknowledge us. So like, and the way he left,
he never came back to see the
too,
kids. That's what you're trying to say. He never came back to visit the kids.
No, I'm not, you guys can joke around with it, but I don't respect how Bosh left either. I don't.
He dear John lettered us. That's what he did, right? That's what you're trying to say.
The way he joined LeBron and made that, I don't know when would have signed. He had no intentions of coming back.
No, but at the same time, I don't
see what I'm saying.
Want him to come back though. At that point in time, I was okay with him leaving. I was always okay with him leaving. I'll be honest with you.
But see, you didn't want him back? You didn't like his game?
No, it's not because I didn't like his game. But the where the Raptors were, they were barely making the playoffs. You're gonna have to pay him.
Are you a Raptor fan?
No, listen to me.
What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about? Chris Bosh.
He left for nothing.
No, but what I'm saying is this. The question you're asking me is if I wanted him to come back. I said that has nothing to do with his game. What I'm saying is that the fact that the guy was their best player. He was going to be max money at the time. It was going to be like over $100 million or whatever it was going to cost. And you were not going to be better as a team. So to me, at that point, I was like, if he wants to go and be a number 2, because to me, really, it was like a like a Robin. I'm like, I don't want to pay Robin $120 million. I was okay with him leaving. I was totally fine with him leaving. Honestly, I really was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I never had a problem with that.
Fine. I have a different approach to if I had to run a team, I wouldn't be letting him go like that. But I understand your argument. Like, we're not going to be any better with signing him. But at the same time, you need like an all-star, superstar player to attract other players or to even get better, to be honest, as a team, as an organization. So, and then secondly, to Rand's point, he like, I know Helly always said this. He goes, who was the GM? Was it Grunwald or somebody?
No, it was
who was it?
It was Colangelo.
It was Colangelo. He shitted on Colangelo every day for not trading him, and he said, "You got to be a damn idiot not knowing if a player is going to resign or not." And Colangelo's argument was always, "I don't know." But my point into saying that is like he kind of led us on, like I don't know, when he had no intention of coming back. He had no intention. So as a fan, I'm like, fuck you. you ruined us for a while, man. And after when he left, he doesn't give two shits about Toronto. He doesn't come back.
No, even when we won the chip, he wasn't even like kind of rooting for
uniform us. Retired in whatever. Like, he doesn't care about Toronto. So why am I going to love him and say, oh, this guy's the number 2? Get the fuck out of here.
I never said all that. I'm just
Vince
saying.
Carter, get the hell out of here too.
I'm just saying Calderon. I'm like, I don't know about Calderon.
That's how bad I don't like Bosch. That's how bad I don't like Bosch. I said it as a joke. Obviously, tongue in cheek, I said Calderon, right, to get a rouse in the chat. But I thought you mean it.
You think that Vince Carter? I give Vince Carter a little bit more respect than Bosch.
I do, but not much more. Only,
I agree with. That I agree with. And you know I agree with that.
I told the guys in the chat group, even when I have Alzheimer's, I would never forget what VC did to me and did to Toronto. I would never forget it. Never. Yeah. The way he left.
I agree.
Oh my God, that hurt me, man. And I thought it was so unprofessional.
Don't get me started on this.
Right. So when I look at the best Raptor of all time, Raptor, like, yeah, you win a chip like Lowry, but I actually look at like how much love you have for the city, the organization, like DeMar, or somebody who was drafted. Like Lowry wasn't drafted. Like DeMar was drafted, and he grew his game. He grew up with us, and he got his game to the all-star level. Like now I know he has some deficiencies in his game, but I'm just saying, like, this the whole.
No, I like DeMar too. I've always liked DeMar. Like,
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And he wanted to be here. Like, he wanted to retire.
The guy was upset. The guy
was upset, man.
He's still upset. He's still upset about it.
He's still upset.
He's still tight with the Raptors players and stuff. Yeah, he's still.
What player have we ever had like that was like was this upset to be traded out of Toronto? Who resigned max deal? Like, nobody.
Jose Calderon.
So Powell was upset too.
Yep, Powell was. Everybody that plays here is upset once they get traded or leave. Like, honestly, or legitimately saddened, at least, like, to say like that, like they love the city and they were fine. It's just a matter of getting them here, right? Once they go to a city like Portland or Charlotte, these small town cities, they realize like Toronto's a really small, multicultural mega city, and this is like, something that
big market
they never
too.
knew.
Yeah.
They still don't know. They don't know. They don't know the market.
No, until they actually leave the actual city that they grew up in or their university and travel. Because most Americans don't travel outside of the country. So once they finally come here, like, oh my God, look at this skyline and blah blah blah, and they go to Portland or OKC and they see a skyline of factory buildings and like, what the hell is this? And then they kind of realize.
And then all of a sudden they're missing Caravan and doubles and rolls and Oxtail
and all that's the food, the women, the people, the culture.
And plantain.
Plantain.
He gets an oxtail and plantain.
some chicken curry chicken. But so like at the end of the day, I that's how I look at players that who I rank as all-time Raptors, not just like skill level or how many wins and how many points they. DeMar leads the organization in points, but not even that. It's just like a matter of everything combined. And VC and those guys are, they did amazing things for the organization and country, but as a Raptor fan, he's not. I would have DeMar and Lowry up there.
So do you think there's a possibility that DeMar would ever come back?
Yes, 100%. Listen, he doesn't have much choices. he doesn't have much choices either, right? Like honestly, he's a free agent this year, and I thought he would have been traded at the deadline, but I don't think there was many suitors for him. I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's just that his game is not made for this era. It's just bad timing, man. Not bad timing, but like this era is just. Raptors shot, I think, like 15 three-pointers in the first quarter or something like that yesterday. DeMar doesn't do that. No team wants that. This guy is a scoring machine. He can't be stopped one-on-one.
His game is well-rounded
developed his
now.
game.
Yeah, his game is well-rounded now, especially since
well-rounded.
He
He can pass. He's averaging almost 7 assists a game.
That's what I said, and that was unheard of when he was here.
He couldn't even pass before. He couldn't see the floor before.
Yeah.
But my point is that I don't think to answer Rand's question, would he come back here? If Raptors gave him a decent deal, he would come back. Because I don't think he's going to have many suitors. I really don't.
But he wants to get back to the East because I think he knows that
he did say
his brand got hurt bad. Not making All-Stars for a while.
Well, yeah,
he knows for sure he's
Yeah.
He hasn't played in the All-Star game in the last 3 years. Where when he was here, he was pretty much a regular, right? Sometimes he was starting.
Not only that, he's still good friends with like Van Vliet.
That's what I mean. That's what I said. He's still tight with a lot of Raptors. As I said, he still feels the way. He still feels like he can.
He will. So I'm answering Rand's question. I'm saying he would come back. And we have a.
You think he would?
Yeah, I think he would.
If we give him the money,
he would too. I think he would.
Listen,
what kind of money?
I'm not saying
what kind of money would you give him?
Listen, I'm not saying the Raptors should do it, but I'm saying that if it was offered to him, he would come back. I think he would.
This guy's an all-time point scorer for the organization. He'll come back and just keep adding to it. At that point, he'll be happy with that. I think.
Let me ask you a question. If Larry came back for the low and DeMar came back.
Oh, God.
like that's you know where I'm going with this. Think about it. Like Larry's like, yo, I'll take a cheaper deal if DeMar comes back just to play with DeMar.
Yeah, I'll do it.
How old is DeMar now?
I don't know. That's a good question. I gotta take a look. I don't have my laptop in front of me, but I think he's maybe 30.
He's got to be 30 now. Like 30? Early 30s. It has to be.
He came in early. He came in the league early, though. You got to remember that.
Yeah, but
right?
he's been in the league. He's been in the league 12 years. He's got to be like 30.
30,
31,
I want to say. I'm going to check
so
right
now.
Bring
the band back. Bring the band back together. Bring the band back together.
No.
So he can listen. Here's the question. Who would you pay more? Who would you pay more, Powell or DeMar?
DeMar. Come on, man. You can't even. That's come on.
So you would pay. So DeMar's worth more than Powell right now, right?
Hell yeah.
Okay. So no, I do too. But let's see what happens in the offseason. No, because Powell's younger. You know what I'm saying? Like we'll see. But I would.
So
DeMar.
DeMar's 32. DeMar's 32.
32.
Oh no, sorry. He's gonna be 32 this summer. He'll be 31 right now. Yeah.
So he can play at this level for another 2 more years, I think.
More than that. Unless he
at
gets
this
hurt.
level?
Yeah, more than that, I would say.
How many years?
I would say at least
35, 36?
No. Right now he's 31. He's going to turn 32 this summer. I to play at this level, I can give him 3 more years.
I just said 2 or 3 more years.
Oh, I thought he said 2, like 1. I thought he said 1 to 2 more years. I'm sorry.
No, 2, 3 more years max at this level.
Yeah.
So ideally, I would give him 3 years, and that's tough, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're giving me the shivers. Let's shift this. I don't want
Hey, but it would be a good lineup though. Van Vliet, DeMar, OG, and Pascal, and one big.
Yeah, that would good. Hey, and then on top of that, so let's say we get a good draft pick.
Yep.
Oh, Mobley is the perfect fit for this team.
So I'm a huge fan of Mobley.
Yeah.
Huge fan of Mobley.
Yeah, he's really
I just wish he wasn't.
He's like your boy Bosh.
He is like Bosh, 100%. I think he comes out
more athletic. He's more athletic.
Yes, more athletic and a
and
bit
bigger,
more polished than Bosh.
And bigger.
Yeah.
And bigger.
Yeah. The only thing he's a bit slim. He's slim. Both Bosh and him is slim,
and
we do have Boucher who's kind of slim. But that being said, we need any big we can get. And I do like him if he's available, but I don't think he'll be available. It depends on what pick we get, right?
Yeah.
But I think he'll be gone in the top 5 for sure.
Tank.
Yeah.
Tank. Where are we at right now? 7?
We're like
if the draft
8 or something like that. 7
or 8. Yeah. Tank.
You gotta keep losing, man.
Tank.
Keep losing, and then see what the lottery does.
All you got to do is play Baines. You're good.
Bain, Stanley Johnson, and McCarr. McCarr's back next week or something. He said he's back. Play all three of them. Play all three of them.
I'm good. I'm good with that, bro.
Okay, so
I'm good with the 10. But if you had the top 3 pick, would you pick Cunningham if you had like the number 1 pick?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I would. I like Cunningham.
But he
reminds me of like Fred VanVleet, kind of like slow. No, I'm just saying that he's so smart. He's not like super athletic or super. VanVleet is like.
You know what he reminds me of?
Who?
He reminds me of Luka Doncic.
Yeah. Well, I mean that too, because Luka's kind of slow, methodical too, as well, right? Just like, but when I meant VanVleet, I don't mean like the height, and I just meant like the way he can control a game, composed. He's smart, because he's not going to blow you away with athleticism or blow you down the court with speed, or he's just crafty.
But then it helps that he's also 6'7", 6'8". That also helps too.
He's a shooting guard though, right?
Like a point guard, really, but yeah.
Yeah, point guard, shooting guard, like just like Luka. Yeah,
it's all kind of the same.
I would draft Cunningham for sure, number 1 overall. I like Suggs and Gonzaga, and like those guys are not like to me number 1s. Like, but Mobley, he's up there too, though.
Hey, watch out, because he does represent Team Light Skin. Like Randall will come through the phone for you if you rip on Suggs.
They all do.
Well, yeah, Cade too. It's right. If you were bigging up Cade, so I guess it washes itself then.
Even Mobley is.
Mobley's kind of fair. He's fair, not light. He's fair.
Yeah, he's more Team Dark Skin. So let me ask the next question. So, do you think we're scratching the ceiling of Pascal Siakam's potential, or do you think there's still more headroom?
I think there's more headroom. There's always more room for young players like that. You know, you think? I think he has a talent to be better. If that's going to answer your question, he does.
I'll tell you this. I think he did wonders. I just think you can't change. I used to have football coaches tell me, I always wanted to be a receiver, right? And he's like, you could play receiver, but you like hitting people. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you can't change the tiger stripes, right? You're not a receiver. You're not fast like that. You're not crafty like that. That's not who you are. Pascal is just not that type of player. He's not that guy. We're trying to turn him into one. He's not that guy. He can't lead a team. That's not his role.
I agree.
Not even lead a team. You don't need to be the best player to lead a team. But I mean, he can't even be crunch time. He is what he is. And he's a great player. He could be a sometimes all-star type of player. But he's not the type of guy put it this way. I'd rather the ball in DeMar's hands than his hands.
Yes. In crunch time, or you know why? You
keep saying DeMar like he's coming here. Like, can we stop that for a moment? Sorry, keep going, Julian.
No, but I understand what Rand's saying. I think he's mentally reached his capacity. Like he can't mentally. He doesn't have that. How am I going to say this? That cognitive, cerebral mindset, like genetic mindset, to be a leader, to change his game, to adapt to situation. He doesn't have it. He doesn't have that aptitude, I think, personally. But he has the physical skills to be better. But he just doesn't have it in the brain. That's what I think. And we see that from the bubble. We see he was constantly using that spin move. He wasn't able to adjust. And I think that's a sign. But at the same time, we saw DeMar and Lowry struggle like that in playoffs. And I wondered if they could do it too, and Lowry proved me wrong that he did it in the last year's playoffs.
But you need to have. He is
that killer instinct kind of thing.
No. Julian, you need to have someone like a DeMar for him to go off.
But you know, you're
right.
That's why I'm telling you, DeMar is the right piece. For
Are
this
you listening,
team.
Calvin? Are you listening?
I'm telling you it is, man. I'm telling you.
But that drive.
Because and I'll tell you why. And everyone can say, oh, yeah, whatever. But I'll tell you why. And I'm looking from a coach's mindset.
Yeah.
VanVleet could score. So he's a point guard, but DeMar could facilitate to him to score. Mm-hmm. He takes off the pressure off of Pascal. Pascal cannot. He needs to be like the second, the third option. That's where he shines. he's coming off of, backdoor screens. He's not, the ball's not always in his hands. He's scoring without the ball in his hands a lot of times. That's where he thrives. The fast break, off of screens, high post, give it to him in a high post for a shot, screen and roll, pick and roll, trailing for the three. All that stuff is when he excelled. When the ball's in his hand stuck, he can't create his own shot.
Yeah, I do want to correct you on one thing, Julian, is that you were saying something about Lowry being like he's proven you wrong. I totally agree with that. I agree with you completely. But but let's be real, there was a Kawhi effect.
Absolutely.
That absolutely washed over everybody on that team, and everybody had a chip on their shoulder. But there was definitely a Kawhi effect.
Absolutely,
good point. And that's what's ran with Siakam, I guess, right?
Yeah,
and that's your point, right?
Exactly what I'm saying. Exactly what I'm saying
on the floor.
He needs someone.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Precisely. No, that's exactly what I was saying. Is that I'm talking about if you wanted to really have an impact right now. And I'm saying for next season, DeMar was the biggest name in free agency. If you look at the free agents coming out next year, Chris Paul, I think, and DeMar. That's it, really.
Pretty much.
So
yeah,
if you were going to sign
deep.
a free,
it's not deep. All the big free agents basically signed last year.
Exactly. Yeah. So my thought process is this: you go after a veteran big, and you go after you need a good solid wing player, like a 2.
Yeah.
Right? So you need a 2, and you can't have no rookie 2 unless it's a high draft pick. You need a solid 2, right? You need and again, DeMar's the perfect person if he comes at the good rate to fill that gap until in the interim, and then you get a young big and you get a veteran big to back him up. Not no Baines, a veteran big that could grab boards, right? And then you fill the bench with whatever you want. But I'm saying realistically, that's what we need. We need the Raptors are never going to get anybody that people think they're going to get unless it's through the draft.
Well, there is another guy that's a free agent next year. His name is Kawhi. You guys don't want to speak that into existence?
Nobody wants to he ain't leaving.
Nobody wants to speak that into. You speaking DeMar into existence. You don't want to speak Kawhi into existence. I think that's the better way to go, don't you think?
I'm speaking. That's why I said reality sunken in, man.
Yeah, it has sunk in to the point that there's no point of trying to speak it into existence because it's not happening. No. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think just to answer my own question, I think he's good. He's still got some polishing to do. You know what I mean? I do think there's a little bit of headroom. But he's in a hard position that, I think right now, because of what he's getting paid, he's in a position that's above his pay grade. You know what I mean? He's a great number 2 even, but he's not a number 1. And it kind of almost goes back to where the Raptors were outside of the 2019 season where we had Kawhi, where is there anybody on this roster right now that could be that number 1 guy? Is it anyone, is there somebody lurking in the free agency in the next year or 2 that can come here and be that guy? It's going to be Fred VanVleet, it's going to be Siakam. That's going to be leading this team, but I'm not 100% sure if that's enough to win a title as a number 1 guy. To me, there's still some headroom left, but it's weird. I think the gap from ceiling to head isn't that wide, and I think it comes with an expiry date for somebody like him. And I think if it's one of those things if he doesn't realize it soon, that number 2 role is basically going to be it's going to be there to calcify, and that's going to be it.
But how old is he now?
He's 25. But he's been in the league for 5 years, right?
Still young. He's still young. He still has room to grow, man. He's going to get stronger in 2-3 years too. More confident.
I'm still rooting for him. I know everybody.
To be honest,
yeah, go ahead.
He's putting up some decent numbers too.
He is.
I'm just going to Rand's point. Even though he's putting up good numbers, I still don't see him as being that number 1. He's doing almost 5, 6, 7 rebounds, 4 assists,
who's
almost
that?
20 points. Siakam.
I'm off Siakam. I tried to defend that guy so much that I'm not even on it. But the one thing before I forget, and you could get on to Siakam, is I forgot about we didn't talk about Gary Trent Jr.
Yeah, that was my next question. You want to jump on him right now? We can. Should we re-sign back Gary Trent Jr.?
I think it would be nice because we don't have anybody with Lowry and Powell gone. We do need another guard. So now we do need somebody, some depth and whatnot. And I think he's a restricted free agent, right? So we have rights to match or whatever. So it all depends on the number. But from what I've seen, I like his energy. I like his ceiling. I like his ceiling that it's going to be a lot higher, and it's definitely worth signing. That's for sure, right? So I do like the trade too. I like the trade actually. I like the trade.
I do absolutely. And everybody shits on Hood, but like I think Hood is still. You can see he's still kind of recovering from that Achilles injury. He's not where he was. So I feel like next year he'll be a little better. That's again if he stays, but I don't think that trade was meant for him. Really, it's obviously it's more meant for Trent Jr.
Actually, it was kind of indirectly meant for him. Because we have a team option, so we're not going to sign him, and it's going to free up money. So I think it's like $10 million.
Right.
So that way we're not stuck with a full contract coming back for Powell. So we have $10 million coming off the book plus Lowry's $30 million, and then we can resign Trent Jr. Right? If he right. But Trent Jr.
So what Trent go for?
I don't know. He can't go for too much though right now. Like I don't know. But like me personally, I think Gary Trent is a great sixth man. Like right now for next year. I don't know. Right? Like I don't know if ideally on a perfect team, like he could start for the Raptors, but like ideally he would be like the sixth man. Like Powell. Kind of like the Powell like he like years ago or last year. But I don't know how much he will go for. I don't know. Like he only makes like $1 million or something now. Yeah. I'm guessing like $2 million.
Well, my thing is that's I agree with you guys. Like, do you think like is $15 million lowballing him over 2 to 3 years? Like, I mean, $15 million per year for the next 2-3 years. Like, if he gets a 3-year $45 million deal, is that like a slap in the face?
What's Powell contract right now?
Powell's making 10.
I'll give him 10.
You give him 10?
Yeah, like
he's gonna go for more.
Gary Trent?
Yeah, I think he'll go for more.
No, he won't go for more. He won't
go
for more.
Do you think $15 million is too high?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I mean,
listen. How many years has he been in the league? 2 years?
Yeah,
2, 3?
3 years. So really, he's been
he's
like
coming off his
the bubble. The bubble and this season.
Go ahead.
No, I said the bubble and this season is where he's showing his value, right?
And he's coming off his drafting. What do you call that? Draft salary or that? Whatever. That's
rookie contract.
Rookie contract. Yeah. You think you go from rookie? Like he hasn't done enough to me, to be honest with you, to give him
to be
the ball out to
15,
20 million.
Yeah.
Like how much is Van Vliet making? Like 20?
Van Vliet's making like 20. Yeah, about just over 20, 22, that type of thing.
20. So you want to get closer to Van Vliet money? Get the hell out of here. No, I think when 15 you look, is maximum. I'll give him power money. Like 3 years, 10, 30
If we could get him for 10, if we get him like around that, I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's
who's going to give him starting? Like, who's going to give him more than that to start on their team? Like, what team would do that?
And honestly, I think it would be smart if he signed like a deal like that, even if it's like 10, 12 million, but for like 2 years, 2-3 years, and then he comes back.
Yeah.
If he proves himself, he can get like the bag. Because at that point, if he's balling on 10 years, you know it's going to double, on his next contract. So, I think for him, it's probably like if I was him, I wouldn't sign like a 4-year deal. You know what I mean? I would sign like a 2 or 3 year deal. Maybe 3 max, but I would sign like at least 2 years and just go back into the market 2 years from now, see where everything is at.
Exactly. Because right now I don't see him as a starter. Like starters 2-guard money. Yeah. And if I'm his agent, I'm looking at all the starting 2 guards and how much they're getting paid. And I know I'm not getting that money because I'm not a starter. He won't start like in any other team. Like, sorry, I won't say he won't start, but like in my eyes, he shouldn't be starting just yet. Like, he hasn't proven himself yet. He has the abilities, but he hasn't proven himself yet.
Yeah,
so
time.
I think whatever that Powell's money wasn't starter's money. That was like based off projection of how well he's going to be in 6 man, and that's what I would give him, Powell type money. So I just bring back Powell, bring him back in Powell's spot in the same salary.
Okay, fair enough.
Ideally, I don't know. We'll see. Like I'm not a contract GM stats guy, so I don't know. But that's what I'm seeing from the outside.
And what about Baines?
Baines is gone. What do you mean? What about Baines? he's on the same.
What about Baines? What about Baines?
He's on the same Uber ride with Gasol that we took Gasol out last year with. He's gone. He's gone now. I think mentally he's gone. He's literally lost on the floor. Like he literally doesn't know what's going on. But anyhow, he's gone. We're losing his contract too, which is good. I think we signed him for 1 year in a team option, like $6 million.
Yeah.
He's gone.
One year deal. Like I think you do to him like what Tribe Called Quest named their last album. Thank you for your service. We got it from here. Just shake his hand and let him go.
We are done. We are done. I never knew he was that bad. Honestly, I think his 2 best games last year, I'm being serious, were against the Raptors. When his 3 good games. His 1 game when he hit 8 threes, and his 2 other good games. This tells you I watch every Raptor game. This guy murdered us. Mm-hmm. I couldn't believe it, man. But we had to go
with that shot put 3.
Yeah, he murdered us. I'm telling you, in Phoenix.
He did. He had a pretty good year last year because there was times where he was replacing Ayton in the starting lineup.
Yes, yeah.
Ayton was injured.
Right, but even when he wasn't injured, there was times where they were starting together. I know there was a lot of times they were starting together.
I can't remember what he killed us. I think that made an impression on the Raptor brass, and they signed him.
But again, it's a 1 year deal. It's a stopgap, right? Like.
Yeah,
we know what the situation was.
We got duped.
Yeah, but only 1 year. Only 1 year. But, so we weren't that badly duped because we didn't give him more than 1 year. Right?
Yeah,
we didn't get like Hakeem Olajuwon.
I was just about to say that. You stole the words right out of my mouth. I was just about to say that. It wasn't an Hakeem situation. Like nobody's wearing an Hakeem Olajuwon Raptors jersey. Nobody.
Nobody in the league analysts remember him on the flicking Raptors.
And it's better.
People don't even remember.
It's better that way.
Yogi Stewart is up there too with that dupe. But anyhow, go ahead.
So I got a couple more questions, then we'll wrap this up. So I need y'all to evoke your inner Cleo right now. What do you guys think the future is going to look like in the next year or so with a core of Pascal, Fred, and OG, and Boucher, I guess, for more or less?
Good. I think we're good. No, I think we're good.
You think you're good?
Yeah, because I think. Well, go ahead.
What does good entail though? That's
good.
What is good in your?
Well, good entails me playoffs.
Okay. Yes.
Like I don't think we're going to be like the years of like Atlanta of years past, like those years, or Chicago.
Winning 30 games, that type of thing.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I think our core is better than a lot of other teams' cores. Like 4, if you want to say 4 guys. And we're young. So I think we can build on that. So they're going to get better too. Like I think OG is going to get better. I think
I like the trajectory.
His game is getting a lot better.
His
game is ugly, but he's getting better with the ugliness. Like to me, like he's actually shooting the 3 ball much better. His handle is still weak, but
it's improved though.
It's improved though, right? His defense is listen, I don't think there's any, like I rank him as top 5 defender in the league. Like people say Draymond, like I put OG up there. Just like he's so quiet, he's not going to say anything. Yeah. But like OG can play multiple positions on the defensive end, so that he can guard guys. So I just think that we have a core with the young 4: Pascal, VanVleet, OG. It's only those 3 now: Pascal, OG, and shit. Yeah, we traded Powell, right? So am I missing somebody? OG? But
no, that's why I said Boucher.
Oh, Boucher, yeah, Boucher,
Boucher,
Boucher is like offensively is going to get better, but and his, he can protect the rim, but that body is not going to work.
Yeah,
he can't play the 5. He cannot play the 5.
No.
He can only play the 4.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I think. Only play the 4.
And he's like 6'8", 6'9". He's just really long, but he's not like 7 feet tall. He's only like 6'8", 6'9" at most. Right?
Really?
So,
man?
Yeah, he's
okay,
not.
I didn't know that. Yeah, I thought it was taller, but yeah.
I think they have him listed as the height, but I don't think he's. I mean, I'll check, but I don't think he's. I don't think he's like outrageously tall. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's 6'9".
I believe
he's 6'9".
If he had size, he'll be one of the best big man defenders ever. Like his shot blocking,
it's amazing.
Abilities, and his timing is remarkable.
It's amazing.
I'm telling you, it's amazing. But he just can't. He gets bullied underneath the rim. Like I see Miles Plumlee, Cody Zeller. These guys are just
They start licking their chops.
They do.
Even I was watching yesterday when they played OKC. Even that bum that OKC was licking his chops. I don't even remember his name. He was a bum.
Yeah, Miles Brown.
Happy.
Moses Brown.
He's a youngster.
We don't even know his name. Moses Brown.
Yeah,
Moses Brown. Yeah.
Miles Brown is a son from Blackish. So I'm sorry, I'm confusing the two.
He be licking his chops too.
Yo, they get mentally. These guys get confident, man. I'm telling you, literally, they get confident. They
Yeah.
see him and they're like, okay, yeah, he can block shots, but I'm gonna get the rebound. I'm gonna, So that's his problem. But you know what? That being said, he's an amazing shooter. He gets three ball is one of the best 3-pointers in the game. Shooter in the game.
So ugly.
It's ugly, but it works, right? So, but I think his abilities of shooting and shot blocking will make him an asset. So coming off the bench though. Or you trade Pascal. You make him play the 4 and get back something for Pascal.
And he's shooting 41% from 3 this year, so it speaks to that point. Yeah.
Oh, 41. That's it. That's it. I thought it would be better more than that.
I mean, that's above league average. It's great. It's really good.
No.
Right?
I thought it was.
Yeah, you're getting into 40%. Yeah, you're getting into 40%.
That's how good I thought he was. Okay, I thought he was better than that. Even better. That's how good I see him shooting it.
Yeah, he's got good splits. But I
like the core.
I think it's a nice start. I just think you have to see what's available on the market, just to see what we can get. It's a nice nucleus because obviously they got the championship experience and they're all that 3 especially. They're all entering their primes, which is like that's the best kind of core you want to have, right?
Together, yeah.
Right, but it's not something that envisions like future rings at the moment, unless it's a trade or a player that can pop up.
No.
Yeah, but I mean, who do we have a realistic chance of getting? Like, and I know you guys try to wash out Kawhi, right? Like, we're still not going to speak him into existence, right? We're okay. All right.
No, that's not how it's going.
Okay, fine.
Been there.
Well, all right.
Like a superstar? A superstar?
I'm just saying, like, who's the players that's gonna make it go back to like this elite playoff level status? Like Spencer Dinwiddie is a free agent coming into this season. What about John Collins?
Yeah, I heard Raptors were interested in him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about John Collins? Like, I know he's restricted, but what about him? What about
I
Zach
like
Collins?
John, but I don't like John. I like John, but he's like not
terrible
big enough.
defensively.
And I when I say
not with Siakam.
we need a 5. And then we have Siakam.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Well, what about
It's not a fit.
What about the other Collins? What about Zach Collins? I know
Portland,
he's been injured a lot.
Yet?
No, he's been injured most of the season. I'm not sure.
No,
if
he's not the missing piece. He's not no all-star like what you're suggesting. There, we'll get us over.
But I'm saying there's somebody that can grow with him, like grow with this team. Like, he's actually pretty good when he is healthy. He is good.
Yeah, I agree to that, but he's just never healthy.
Lonzo Ball?
No. But no, when I say no, because we got Van Vliet. No.
Yeah, true. I mean, and I give it to him. He is playing well this year. Who else I could think of? Victor Oladipo?
No.
Yeah,
he's done. I think he's done.
You think Victor
when I mean
Oladipo?
Done, I don't think he's not going to be the same player.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's playing tonight as of this recording. I'm not sure how he did tonight.
I keep telling y'all, DeRozan.
You telling me? I'm telling you guys.
Yeah, when you look at the free agent class this year, like, not that everybody's re-signed. It was supposed to be like one of the biggest in history, but because everybody re-upped, with the exception of Kawhi, it's pretty scanty. You know what I mean? It's pretty.
Kawhi ain't going nowhere.
He's not.
What about Serge? Like, he's a free agent coming back.
I'll bring him back for 1 year.
Yeah, I would even give him I would give him a 1 year. Yeah, because I'm like, now he's getting older, so it's but he's been in the league 11 years. Do you give him a 2 year? Are you comfortable giving him a 2 year deal? I would. I give him a 2 year.
I would rather pick up someone like if you're gonna go after Serge, I'd rather pick up what's his name on OKC that's sitting out.
Oh, Horford, but then Horford's worth like $85 million or whatever in the next couple of years. There's no way.
He's still getting paid. He's still
getting paid.
He's still getting paid.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought this was last year.
He's like, no. He's got like 2 more years left. It's like a third. They're gonna try to trade him in the offseason. But he's like $30 million.
Buy him out.
Ain't no
bought out. One of the worst signings ever by Elton Brand. I could not believe when he did that. I would never forget that signing either.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. And I mean, it's not like Horford sucks. Horford's still quality, but you can't pay him $30 million.
It was
at this
bad
point.
Because of his age.
Yeah, no, for sure, 100%.
Right? How many years does Serge Ibaka have left on his contract?
1.
No, 1. He has a player option.
Not Serge Ibaka. Sorry, not Serge Ibaka. Embiid.
Horford? Embiid? Oh, I don't know.
No, he's not a free agent this year. He's either 2022 or 2023. He's a free agent.
Well, you really think Embiid will come here if we had an opportunity?
Okay, let me ask you something. If Embiid does not win with Philly, you don't think that Masai can try to work and be?
If he doesn't win with Philly, and if he was a free agent or something, yeah, I could see him leaving possibly. Yeah, but no, I don't.
Because he's an international guy, right? And it seems like a lot of international players are more apt to want to play in Toronto's.
Yeah.
But he's got like at least 2 more. He doesn't become a free agent until 2023. So it's another 2 years.
It's not. It doesn't leave much options other than a trade, right? Maybe a trading, using our pick. If it's a high pick lottery pick, trading it with, I don't know, or do a signing. Can we do signing trades with Lowry? Like, I don't know. Like, that's the only way to really, I guess, right now is what you're saying, Calvin, is like what to add a piece. It's nothing really significant out there on the free agency market
not right now. And then next year, like the free agent class is Harden can opt out. Westbrook can opt out. Durant could opt out. Curry can opt out. And none of those guys are pretty much leaving. Well, I don't know about Westbrook, but I don't think Westbrook's coming here. And
we don't need them anyhow.
Steph, whoever's making up these rumors that him and LeBron or LeBron's recruiting him, just stop. Just stop.
I've been seeing it.
And yeah, just stop. But like guys like Kemba Walker, Bradley Beal is available next year. Jimmy Butler is available next year. Yeah.
Well, he read up for some reason.
Me too. Yeah. I thought he did.
Drew Holiday, Julius Randle, Gordon, Levine. It's a pretty good class next year of guys being available, but like this year, because everybody, like I said, re-upped, it's a tough class. It's not strong. So do you break the bank on trying to get certain guys? Like, I don't know. That's what I mean. Because even if and again, I'm not saying like huffing and puffing and losing decibels in my voice when you bring up DeRozan's name. Not because I think he's not a good player. I enjoy watching him play, but it's just. I just feel like bringing him back is like we're like going back to like 2015, 2016, where like the playoffs come and you're just like, oh my God, which guy's coming to play today? It's kind of like you got a little PTSD from those days, and I don't want to relive it, bro. So I think that's where I'm coming from with DeRozan. But as a player, yeah, absolutely, like he can ball. I enjoy watching him play. I actually like really watching the Spurs play right now. But that's the part. It's just the PTSD, man. I just don't know if I want to go back.
I hear you. We've been there, done that kind of thing, is what you're saying, right?
Absolutely.
I hear you, but I still think if DeMar, I said that already. If DeMar comes back and we just add a shot blocker like Jared Allen or somebody like that, I think we can contend. If we had DeMar and Jared Allen, I think we would be good next year.
Yeah, Jared Allen's he's a restricted, but he's I think Cleveland wants to give him $100 million. So
holy cow! Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think. What about Drummond? You want Drummond? Bro?
No.
Come on, Julian. You want Drummond? Get out.
No. We need the culture, man. Culture. We don't want no Drummonds, no Whitesides. None of them guys.
No boogies. No boogies.
No boogies. No boogies. Headley's type of players. We don't want any type of Headleys on our team.
Shots fired. Deserved though, but shots fired. So my last question: are any of you guys against the Raptors getting hot and getting into this play-in game? They're only like 2 games out of the 10th spot as of this recording.
I'll let Randall.
I don't want this one. No, I don't think it's worth it. If we're gonna tear it down, do it right. Just go get at least try to get a lottery pick. That's like especially if it's supposed to be a good draft. Now, if they have other type of plans, and I know Raptors, they've always been good at finding talent regardless of where they're placed. So I'm not sure what Masai's game plan and Bobby's game plan is, but at the end of the day, I still say try to get a good draft pick and make something out of it. And like I said, like we're not far from being from relevance, right?
No. And we're in the East. Like we're in the East, meaning like next year we're always gonna have a fighting chance to make the playoffs and whatnot.
Yeah, the East is getting pretty strong now.
True, that is true.
Well,
look at the teams like Brooklyn and Philly, Boston still always in the mix. Boston has a way better nucleus than we do. What are you talking about?
Like Boston, Calvin?
No, I do like Boston, but I'm just looking at the fact that they're 23 and 25 right now, and they're not like you can't rule out Danny Ainge because he's a good GM, but They haven't been making the best deals in the last couple of years, and it's kind of this season's kind of a reflection of it, right? So it's I mean, right now they're in the 8th spot and they're 23 and 25. They're only 3.
Yeah, but
so go ahead.
Their nucleus is better than ours.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're Jaylen Brown and Tatum, like the 2 of the best young players in the game. Yeah, I mean, you can't sneeze at that, obviously, but I'm just saying, like it. I know they're like the future's super bright. Yeah, I guess so because it depends on who you can get, right? But it's,
Miles Turner. That Miles Turner trade is gonna haunt them for the rest of Danny Ainge's life, because that Miles Turner. Yeah, Miles Turner was supposed to go there, right? What was it for again? For Harper.
For Hayward, Gordon Hayward.
Hayward, sorry.
Yeah.
Hayward, yeah.
But it's weird because when you look at where the Raptors are now, they're in the 11th spot, but they're like 6 games out of 4th. Like honestly,
that's not good.
Like the one honesty, because the thing what happened with them this year too, right? They finally found their sea legs, and then they got COVID, right? And that just kind of torpedoed the rest of the season where they are now. Yeah. But if they get on another run like this, like if they go on like win 7 or 8 next games in the next 2 to 3 weeks or whatever, for example, like at the end of April, you could look back at them and they could be like realistically like in the 4th or 5th spot.
When is the season done? When is the season done? I need the season done now.
They're done in May. They got 24 more games left. We're literally at the 2/3 of the season of the year remaining, right?
That's not good.
Sorry, a third of the season remaining. Sorry, 2/3 of the season has been gone now. But
let's just hope the other teams continue. Like Chicago got better, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
They did.
Like where are they right now? Like and what position are they in right now?
They're 10th. The Raptors are 2 games behind them for the 10th spot for the play-in.
Good. Okay, so Chicago will get better. Chicago should beat us going forward, I think. I'm trying to find teams that are better than us because I think we have a decent team to win some games, and I don't want to see that.
Well, especially if guys
if everyone starts coming back.
Yeah, because that's the thing, right? Like, say the season was to end and they got the 10th spot. Their first game in that playing game would be the Atlanta Hawks. They could beat Atlanta. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then if they get into that, best of 3, it's going to be between, them or Boston or them and the Pacers. Like the Celtics, I would be a little bit more worried about because Boston has their number. But like if the Pacers lock up and win, like that could be the Raptors, representing the 8th spot, essentially, playing Philly or Brooklyn going into the playoffs. Like it's not out of the possibility. I understand what you guys are saying. I want to see them tank too because, we're talking about Evan Mobley, for example. Like you tag them along with what they already got would be pretty big. But to me, they're one winning streak to being right back in this thing. So I don't know. That's something. It's going to be interesting how this folds out.
Or one injury, losing. We need. I don't want to wish that on nobody, but anything could happen.
Oh, anything can happen. Yeah, no, for sure. Like it's that's the thing. It's like you want to start. Like I understand as a fan, you want them to start tanking, but like I don't think this culture is built to tank, bro. Like I don't know, man. It's just against how these guys move. Unless you're really gonna bench Kyle and you're gonna start sitting guys, like it's against their culture. So that's why I'm like, this is gonna be interesting to see if they actually do that.
It's against the players' culture, but management has a different culture, and it's called business culture. So like we traded Powell already, so they're already committed to like losing the season, right? Otherwise, you would have kept him and ride it out. So I think management is already committed to not losing, but committed to going into next year not making the playoffs.
Yeah,
and
like there's no buyout options. We're going with exactly who's on this roster right now.
Yeah. Well,
or G League call-ups if injuries happen.
But I, as a fan, like I'm not big on tanking too. But as a fan, they're not playing in Toronto. Like I said this many times. If they were playing here, I might have more vested interest. But they're in Tampa. This whole is a COVID season. It's a shortened season. Like this whole season is probably the best year that you should tank.
Yeah.
In my eyes, as a fan too, like we're not going to no games.
Yeah.
We're not seeing them. They're not in our home city. They're not, So it's like, why not just as a fan, like just tank? I don't care, man. At this point, all right, we traded Powell. Lowry's done at the end of this year, or what? Just tank. So I think management knows that, but they can't. No management can come out and say that. No. But you know what? That's what they want too. They definitely want that. So they probably told him to play Stanley Johnson and Baines 30 minutes a game. They probably told him. I'm serious.
Yeah, I'm serious too. I think that I'm good with it too. I think that you know what, my thing right now is I hope they can get a sign and trade for Lowry. I hope he just doesn't leave just on the whim.
Yeah, I haven't seen too many sign and trades these days. I don't know.
I don't know if it still happens.
CBA,
but I mean, again, that's like 30.
No, it's still possible.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's still possible.
But you're right, Calvin. It is $30 million. It would be would it be a signing trade of his new deal, right? It would be his
new deal.
Yeah,
his new deal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Well, I guess we'll have to see what happens with the rest of the season. We'll definitely be paying attention, and I wonder, really and truly, is my streak of doing Raptors playoff post game podcast? Is it?
I hope so.
Is it about to end? Julian's like, I hope so.
I hope so. I'll speak this into existence. Yes.
Well, if you're gonna do that, at least can you talk Kawhi into existence? Just try it. Come on, just try it.
No.
Just try
this guy just bought. Like I think I saw it on social media.
Put it on the vision board. Put it on the vision board, man. Come on.
$25 million house he just bought. He just bought like one of the and this is his second house.
Yeah, Kawhi.
He bought a second house mansion somewhere else in LA or San Diego.
It's closer. Yeah, it's close. It's in LA this time. It's not in San Diego. It's in LA.
He might sell the other house, but he has two now. So like, there's no way he's going anywhere.
Yeah.
He ain't going nowhere.
I'm gonna put it up on the vision board. All right, guys. Thank you for hopping on this podcast.
Yes, sir.
No, man, it's been a pleasure. Thank you once again, man. It's like I said, I enjoy doing these ones. These are like one of my favorite ones to do every year, man. So. On brand, it's pretty much what I expected. So, but I thank you all for hopping on and just this is crazy. Like I said, this is like the bleakest I've ever seen the Raptors be at this point of the year. Doing these ones. So,
in a while,
it's interesting
because we don't know where it's gonna go. That's the hard part, right?
Yeah. You don't. We don't know how the season's gonna go. We don't know what kind of pick we're gonna get or who's going to come back next year. We got a lot of holes that we haven't had in years past, like, with Lowry and Powell gone. That's 2 vacancies, right? So if we don't sign nobody, who the hell's going to fill those spots, right?
Yeah, true. And
then the other one is Masai.
Yes, Masai. Good point. Yes.
Masai's the biggest hole.
Yeah, that was the last thing I was going to say. Just in Masai, we trust. Masai, trust us. Masai, trust us. Please, come back. Come back.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ave Podcast. Special shout out goes out to South Shore family members Julian, a.k.a. Jules Da Commish, and Randall Walter for talking this Raptors talk with me. We'll see what happens during the last stretch of this season, but it's not looking good right now for a playoff spot or even a playing game. But then again, if you want the Raptors to get a lottery pick, then things are looking good. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, so take it any way you want to take it. It's going to be entertaining either way you look at it. So thanks once again for tuning in. Make sure you hit and like the favorite button. Continue to rate, review, and subscribe to all of my shows. And check out SouthShoreAv.com for all of my podcast shows. And I'm going to be back next week with a new episode. All right, so stay tuned. For Julian, a.k.a. Jules Da Commish, and Randall Walter, this is Cal C. And you've just tuned in to the Ave Podcast on South Shore Radio. Until next week, folks, peace. We out.